we are doing Tetsuo today. So what have we got?
Yeah.
So I mean, oh Christ, it's gonna be a challenge, man. I don't even know where to start with this one. It's. I feel like it's a series that's just been so well documented, and there's been so much like spoken about it. It's been evaluated,
Mm,
analyzed, like to hell and back. I don't think
yeah,
we could possibly add anything new to what's been said already, but
it's
just
okay. We'll just
let's just
fanboy about all these movies.
yeah, nice t-shirt by the way. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. It's by my friend Serhi from Ukraine.
Oh, sick. Nice. Let's have a look.
Hmm.
Oh, on the Tetsuo.
So,
Three.
yeah.
That's pretty sick. I'm on a Burst City one at the moment.
Is that the
Hey.
one the from that Japanese sweet brand? Was it the chocolate
Yeah, 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 yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah. Hardcore chocolate. I do
Hmm.
translations for them. Um,
Ah,
so I do all their like translations to sell to like overseas because they got like a bit of a following now from various
right.
overseas customers, and we've got like
Nice.
I, I'm I haven't translated it yet, but I supplied some materials for a guinea pig T-shirt that they're releasing.
Which
Yeah,
one? Like the
we're doing
first this
we're doing
experiment.
Flowers of Flesh and Blood and Mermaid in a Manhole.
Wow,
And I
nice.
saw the designs, the mock-ups, and they look fucking sweet.
Wow, I want
Yeah,
to see the
so
mermaid one. I love the mermaid series so good, so
oh,
well.
it's the best. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he messaged me. He's like, "Guy, have you got this tape? I need it for the t-shirt I'm releasing." I was like, "What? You're releasing guinea pig t-shirts?" Like I thought that was banned
Nice.
or something. So I haven't got the translation job in yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll come, which will be like I think the only time I can ever say I did some official work on the Japanese like guinea pig series.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like, I'm looking forward to see the design.
sure, man. So
Hmm.
we got I mean, well, technically there's three films in the Tetsuo series. We're gonna do five today.
Hmm.
So we start. We
Right.
got The Phantom of Regular Size,
Yep.
Adventures of Electric Rod Boy,
Yeah.
Tetsuo the Iron Man, Tetsuo Body Hammer, and Tetsuo the Bullet Man.
Yeah.
And in between there's a few various cuts and odd releases, different
Hmm.
edits that also we can talk about. But let's get started with The Phantom of Regular Size. We'll just go
Hmm.
through it
Sure.
chronically, chronologically. That's it.
Chronologically, yeah.
So this was made by Kaiju Theater, right? So this was the theater group that Shinya Tsukamoto, Kei Fujiwara, like that, all the people
Hmm.
involved were a part of
Right.
when they made these films. And I believe like the first two films, Phantom of Regular Size and Electric Rod Boy, were both like theater productions before they
Hmm.
ever
Made
made
it
their way
into
onto
films,
film.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Have you seen both of them?
Yeah, I was only able to see the Phantom on regular size on YouTube
Mhm.
because I'm not sure like if there was any official release that had them on DVD or anything. What was your like first encounter with that?
So yeah, in regards to that, so I don't think there is an official release for the Phantom of Regular
Mm.
Size, and the reason for
Hmm.
that is because he used some some copyrighted music, which he didn't have
Right,
the rights
right.
to.
Okay.
So I think that's
Yeah.
the reason why it's never had an official release.
Mm.
But the
Okay.
Phantom of Regular Size, yeah, so it's like a 30-minute short, and it really just plays out as a demo to Tetsuo the
Yeah.
Iron
Yeah. Right.
Man. And I think everyone who has seen uh, Phantom of Regular Size has previously seen Tetsuo the Iron Man. Like
Yeah.
no one did it the other way around, unless you
Yeah.
were maybe like
Right.
a part of that
Like a
theater
friend
group
of
or
Shinya
their
Tsukamoto.
friends. Yeah,
Yeah,
back in the
yeah,
day.
yeah.
No one was just like, oh, I saw this great film, The Phantom of Regular Size. Oh, look, they remade it as Tetsuo. Like that didn't
No,
happen. It was
no,
always the other way
no.
around.
It's the other way around, yeah.
So, and I think because Tetsuo was just such a fantastic, marvelous, huge hit, people backtracked and then saw the demo from which it came from.
Right. Yeah.
And personally, looking at, and that was my experience anyway. But looking at that demo, so to speak, the Phantom of Regular Size, as glorious as it is, it's lovely. It's got that lovely DIY VHS aesthetic with the stop motion
Yeah.
animations, shot on
Mhm.
8mm, and as fantastic as it really is just a demo to Tetsuo.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a
And
school project that
sure,
they put together like really fast and yeah,
mm,
testing, like very primitive effects, but probably really cool and experimental for that time.
absolutely, yeah. But I feel like personally, what I took away from it is, even though I loved it so much, all the shots were then
Mm.
remade for Tetsuo, the Iron Man.
Exactly, yeah. All the ideas,
Yeah,
all like kind of like improve and better looking effects and slightly
mm,
higher budget looking and better film for the first Tetsuo movie, yeah.
sure. So I think maybe, yeah, at the time, if I had seen that before I watched Tetsuo, I would have thought, well, this is just out of this world. This is incredible. But because I had already, as probably everyone else would have seen Tetsuo first, it's like, well, this is great, but why watch this when you can just watch Tetsuo? It's kind of what I
Yeah,
took away
yeah.
from it, because
Yeah, right,
it's all
right.
the same scenes,
Mm-hmm.
just it's done better later on.
Yeah, yeah,
That's kind
right.
of my what I took away from it. As awesome as it
Yeah.
was, um,
Mm-hmm.
and as enjoyable as it was,
Mm-hmm.
it's just all the same scenes that we have already seen
Correct.
done better beforehand. Yeah,
Right, right,
yeah.
right. There was some pretty funny moments like Shinya's character and Tomoro Taguchi and having a meal together, and he was
Mm,
just feeding him. It was really random and funny. Yeah, so like it was a fun one. I was just kind of surprised like this was in color while the
mm,
first Tetsuo movie was in black and white.
mm, mm.
So I'm not sure how the old like film technology worked back then. Maybe you could help
Sure.
me with that. Like how do you like shoot in black and white if you're shooting on like a 8 mm film? Do
Oh
you put like a
dear.
filter or something?
Christ, I have no. I mean, they did have a black and white film, didn't they? I
Hmm.
would have thought they had black and white film. Sorry. So you're saying? Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to try to answer because I have no idea. I'm just going to say
That's okay. Just
no.
an observation, yeah.
But yeah, Phantom was done in color, wasn't it?
Right, it was.
But I guess the aesthetics of Tetsuo just
Mm,
fitted, so, that
yeah.
black and white aesthetic so much more that probably why I did the
Mm,
switch. I don't know. Couldn't
yeah,
tell you. No
I
idea.
think so. Maybe
So
that
far, I'm not
wasn't
off to a good
that's the only
start.
thing. Yeah, maybe that's the only thing that Shinya Tsukamoto had at a time. I think he probably borrowed his dad's camera or something
Hmm,
along those lines to make his
sure.
films. Yeah.
But yeah, Christ. But then going on to Electric Rod Boy, there's such an increase in production value.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah. Oh,
sure.
is there anything you want to say about Phantom before we continue? Because for me, there's not
uh,
really that much I can talk about this
Yeah,
one.
it's a very short, like a 16-minute film.
Mm,
Like we said, it's basically ideas that were improved on and
mm,
recreated in the first Tetsuo film.
sure.
Really fun to see like a retrospective of how they started all those ideas.
Mm,
But
yeah,
the fun part starts as we go on to the next films.
dude. I loved the adventures of Electric Rod Boy.
Hmm.
I
Yeah, like
absolutely loved it.
me too, me too. It's so fun.
It took me so long to finally get around to it as well. Like I think I mean it only recently had a release in England. I think it was put together with Haze, I believe it was. I think it's
Oh
put up by
yeah,
Third Windows. They,
right,
they
right. Yeah,
remastered it,
third
put out
window.
on
Yeah.
Blu-ray.
Hmm.
So I saw the remastered cut of it, not the remastered, but yeah, the remastered the version of it. And one, it just looks beautiful, and it's such a fan. I don't know why. I think because I had seen Phantom before, and I thought, well, it's just Tetsuo, 0.0 or whatever,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and I heard like Tetsuo and Electric Rob Boy were both like demos to the Iron
Mm,
Man. And after seeing
yeah,
Phantom, I was like, yeah, well, it's cool, but it's why watch this when you can watch the Iron Man? Is what
you're
I took
right,
away from
right.
this.
Uh-huh.
So it took me longer, way longer than it should have to watch me Electric Rob Boy.
Mm,
And I feel like Electric Rob Boy is the only film that really doesn't feel like a Tetsuo film itself. This
right. The interesting is it doesn't feel like a Tetsuo film, but the costumes and stuff you can see they use it in the first
mm,
Tetsuo movie, and even the location. I believe
yeah,
that was Kei Fujiwara's home.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's her neighborhood, so it looks they're probably the same exact locations as where they did Tetsuo.
Sure. Yeah, like you said, the themes are very different, but the costumes
Mm,
and the approach they took,
right, yeah.
there's definitely overlapping, but it's not. really a Tetsuo film. But
Yeah,
for me,
correct.
it feels like the perfect spin-off.
Yeah,
Even though it came beforehand, it feels like a
yeah,
spin-off to this series. And holy shit, is it amazing! Do
yeah.
you want to talk about the story?
Sure. Yeah. So like what we have, the electric boy, this guy that's always bullied at school, and he has this rod coming from
Mm,
his back, like an electric rod. It's so
mm.
random, by the way. So,
Such a good
so
idea.
he's always bullied, and he has this crush on his schoolmate. I believe that's Nobu Kanaoka.
She is
The
awesome.
lady in the subway in the
Mm,
Tetsuo film.
mm.
So and he invented this time machine that
Yeah.
accidentally sends him back to no sends him forward to 25 years into the future.
Mm.
And then in that year, the whole world was run by cyber futuristic vampires
Yeah.
played by Tomoro Taguchi and
Mm.
Shinya Tsukamoto. And so they were trying to like turn the world into darkness so that they can survive. They won't be killed by the sun. And I'm just
So
laughing
out
as
there.
I describe the movie, but it's so fun. So they were like constantly throwing these bombs called the atom bomb or some
Mhm.
atom bomb
Mhm.
to like temporarily block out the sun by having dark clouds. So
Mm.
they are running out of those bombs, and they are trying to make like a atom special bomb, which is like the one that could set the world into darkness forever.
Mm.
Okay, what else did I miss?
Kei Fujiwara. So
Oh yeah.
they're trying to create Eve in the closet. All right.
All right. The closet looks like the one that you have behind you.
I know, right? Yeah, I've got Kei Fujiwara hiding in the closet. It's yeah, like I said, I mean, it's just so out there. I mean, it's so
Mm,
story-wise, it's so far away from Tetsuo, but all the
yeah.
themes are there, like the stop motion, the animating the people, like
Right.
dashing through the
Mhm.
city in their like fixed
Yeah.
poses, and they're
Right.
making these
Right.
weird little like hoverboards made out of metal,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
and yeah, and they're trying to create Eve. So it's like the Adam bomb, and you got Eve in the closet,
Right.
like being
Correct. Yeah.
genetically engineered to make this
Yeah.
massive bomb.
Yeah. So she has to be matured enough. So they've been checking like if she has the first menstruation and all that weird stuff.
So good. But oh god, but what I really love about this film is the mood to it, because it's essentially a superhero movie, right?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
as if
Yeah.
Tetsuo was a superhero film, and it's like
Mm.
that classic superhero like motive where the the main character starts off, he's really weak, he's helpless, he can't do
Yeah.
anything, but he gets
Correct.
the power and the strength to overcome the enemy and save the world,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. Just
Right.
that
Yeah.
classic superhero,
Mm-hmm.
zero to hero type story.
Right. Yeah.
um and the guy in it is great. So he's got this electric rod coming out of his back, and he keeps
Yeah. Yeah.
apologizing to
Yeah.
everyone.
Go menasai. Go menasai. Boom.
Yeah,
Boom.
it was really, really cool guy. God may say, bow when his head, knocks everyone out with his
Yeah.
electric
Yeah.
pole.
Yeah. That was funny.
And all the gags are really quick. Like it's really
Yeah.
funny, and
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no like dull scenes in there whatsoever, because the
Mm-hmm.
humor's really good. The animation, like stop motion animation, the effects, the cyberpunk, like all the crazy wires coming out, like Tetsuo-esque
Yeah.
wires, everything looks and feels really good. It's got a fantastic mood to it, which so you can laugh at it, you could admire all of the effects. Kei Fujiwara's in the closet, who's orgasming like throughout the whole film, like naked. It's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And it really feels like it's like Tetsuo the Iron Man and that film Obayashi's House, House with the cat.
Oh yes. Oh
Phenomenal.
yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. It does have that
It
house
feels
feel.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, because there's so many weird and wacky effects, like really
Mm.
present to that time. For example, this bit where someone's hand kind of gets chopped off and it like crawls along the floor and then shoots out
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
window and flies across Tokyo.
Right.
He's
Right.
not in
Yeah.
the face. Like it's really wacky, and the sound effects as well. Like whenever he hits
Mm.
someone with this pole, it's like boop, boop. You know,
Yeah. It's
the
got that the children's show kind of funny gag song clips playing
mm,
in the background. Yeah.
yeah, the music in it as well. It's really like feels like some strange 90s comedy.
Yeah.
Like it's very like done on like a really shitty keyboard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's that awesome like cheap superhero film
Mm.
that you can laugh at, you can visually enjoy, and you can be really fucking impressed considering their budgetary restraints and their obviously lack of knowledge at that time on
Hmm.
filmmaking. They made it,
Yep.
and it's so special effects heavy as well. Like,
Yeah,
there's
for
so
sure.
much going on in there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the costumes and all those stuff, sometimes I even felt like it was more crazier than Tetsuo itself.
Mm.
Like like
I, I agree.
the vampire, the makeup, and then Kei Fujiwara's like all
In
those
the closet.
pipe stuff. Yeah, in the closet. That was it was very interesting. Like,
Mm.
like even though it's just like a demo film, like I felt
Mm.
that they were doing like some really radical, crazy stuff
Mm.
back in the day, as a
Yeah.
theater group. Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen that as a theater production,
Oh yeah, for
like how it
sure.
originally was.
Yeah, man.
Um, but yeah, I love that film, and I kind of
Hmm.
hate myself for waiting like more than 10, 15 years after I saw Tetsuo to finally watch this one. Like, what, this has been here the whole
Same.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
yeah,
I mean, it didn't really have a really proper release only until like recent years anyway, right?
sure, sure.
Hmm.
It didn't have a release in Japan either. I think they recently it's had a Blu-ray release, same part along with Haze from Japanese production.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what like the availability it had up until very recently,
Mm-hmm.
um, but now that it is available, everyone has to watch it because it's fucking
Yeah,
amazing.
man. Right.
And
So,
I have to point out before we move on is the
hmm.
vampire teeth that they have.
Oh, yeah.
It's like those shitty like dollar store vampire
Yeah,
teeth that
yeah,
you
yeah.
like.
You get from Donkey or Don Quixote.
It's so cheap, so cheap. I can't believe he
Yeah.
actually used them, but they look great. Like, well, they don't look great,
Yeah.
but the whole film just looks
Yeah, it
fantastic.
works. It works for that film. It's so like the cheesy factor and the
Mm,
campiness of the mood. It fit in, and
mm,
I'm pretty sure like they didn't intend it to be like a super serious movie. It's like a fun, even though the effects and all that were like, pretty like
mm,
intense, and the
mm,
costumes and all that,
mm,
which were pretty similar to the first Tetsuo film. Like,
mm.
yeah, the fun undertones were just really enjoyable, like
Really
throughout the
enjoyable.
entire movie. Yeah.
Yeah. There's that scene like when she comes out the closet and she kind of just like breathes like sparks. She's like,
Oh
ah,
yeah,
there's all these like smiles. Oh, that's so
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Really just
She's like this
visually pleasing.
giant. She's being like this giant human, just trying to like blow the smoke into the atmosphere, right? Just to
Yeah,
cover the sun.
sure, sure. There's just so much to enjoy there. I watched it for the first time like last month, and and I watched it again this morning.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, God damn it. Anything else you want to add about the electric rod bike? I feel like I'm just talking about the same thing again and again.
um. Oh yeah, they had this like another electric rod boy that was kind of like from the future. This slightly grown man.
Ah,
You
yes, yes,
remember
yes.
that one?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it seems like every era he was saying there's one electric rod boy to save the
Mm,
world, and that guy was like the previous one,
sure.
and his lights are running out, like the power is going down.
Mm,
So like this young boy was the supposedly the successor for this era.
yeah, yeah.
So I love the story, man. It's as outrageous it is. It's so fun.
It really
Yeah.
is. Definitely outrageous, but
Mm,
yeah, and like I think, like I said before, even though it's probably the least official Tetsuo-esque movie in this
mm,
series, I feel like it works as like the perfect spin-off.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how I look at it. It's like a spin-off, but it's still part of the series. For me
Mm,
personally, that's how I
yeah.
look at it.
Right. I'm just glad that it's finally got some recognition and a proper release. for it.
Mm,
It
mm, mm.
deserves a spot on its own.
Definitely, definitely.
Mm.
Right, so get on to the main event then, I guess.
Ooh, yeah.
So, so Kaiju Theatre. So they took all their ideas and their experiences in
Mm.
making Phantom and Electric Rod Boy, and they finally made Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Mm. Yeah, before we go on,
Oh God!
like
All right, yep. Before we go on,
how was your how did you find out about Tetsuo? Because I assume that that's the very first movie that you saw,
oh, it
like
was
in the whole Tetsuo series.
yeah, it wasn't the Phantom of regular size. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, like yeah, I saw Tetsuo the Iron Man before any of the others. Again, it was just the local store in England. They had a copy, and it was one of those
Mm.
films. I mean, this is going back 17 years, maybe.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, must be because yeah, yeah, I'm gonna say 17 years. Um, and I found the DVD and I'd heard about it, just the name, and I'd heard comparisons to Eraserhead and this and that.
Mm.
And I picked it up, took it back home, not knowing anything about it, and it's just like mind blowing. Like
Mind blown. Yeah.
I'd never seen anything like it. It was, I mean, I'd always had a huge fascination and admiration for stop motion animation.
Mm.
Growing
Yeah.
up on like old like Ray Harryhausen stuff when I was a kid, like just stop motion is just the most fascinating time enduring thing there is.
Yeah.
And to see like not only like objects but people be stop motion
Mm.
animated, it's like what is this
Yeah.
madness? I'd never seen anything like it. Just those scenes of
Right.
people
Right.
like running through the streets
Yeah.
and the surrounding things just warping around them as if like the person's magnetic energy is just
Yeah.
destroying everything around them. And I was like, oh my
Mm.
god. But
Yeah.
the thing which really just completely fucked me up was that subway scene.
Mm.
Because
Yep.
I was watching, I was like, right, I have no idea what's going on, but it's amazing. I have no idea. and and obviously, you got that great, fantastic intro. It's very noisy. You got the Tetsuo like gun da gun da da. It's like
Yeah.
the Chewy
Yeah.
Shikar music
Yeah.
playing,
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
you're watching this like music video, and you're like, "Fuck yeah, this is great!" You're feeling really
Mm.
pumped, and then, and then it kind of like settles down a bit, and we go into the subway,
Yeah.
and that's when what's the character? What's the actress's name?
Nobu Kanaoka.
Yeah, that scene was like the scariest thing I'd ever seen in my life up until that
Oh
point.
yeah. Like when she comes up creeping up on the and was it like the elevator that Tomoro was hiding in, and she
Oh,
was
he's
just
like
like
in the toilet. He's in the public toilet. He's
oh
like
yeah,
run
yeah,
down
right,
into
it's a toilet.
this.
Yeah, yeah. So she was just like hovering on top. Oh, that
That
was creepy as
fucked
fuck.
me up. And the music is there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very like anxiety triggering kind of sound. Yeah.
yeah. But that whole scene is just pure anxiety. Like from when she's there,
Mm.
and there's that smoking bit of metal, and she's kind
Yeah.
of like she like dips her pen in,
Oh yeah. So there was
and
just
then
like
she's
this I don't know what the fuck was it, like this like garbage filled with all
mm,
those junk material, and she was just like
yeah,
dipping the pen, and the next scene she got infected.
yeah. She's there just like
Hand starts
scratching
jerking
around.
up. Love it.
But because like I mean, I'd never seen anything like that, and there was no explanation. Like, I had no idea what was
Mm.
going on, and then
Yeah.
suddenly she's just like changed.
Yeah.
We don't know why, and then she's like
Mhm.
chasing him, and and he hides in the bathroom, and then she like drops her ear down from the
Yeah.
roof. Right? But that scene when he like looks up and she's there, just like that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just terrifying. I
Yeah,
think I
man,
was
yeah.
16 at the time,
Mm.
and I remember that was just horrifying. I loved it so
For
much.
sure. Yeah, man.
And with the sounds and everything, and then they go into this weird fight, they like
Mm,
battle in
yeah.
the subway.
Yeah. I believe
Um,
that was how the Tomorrow's character kind of got infected as well, right? Or further infected because he's already got a slight infection at first, and then
mm,
after that fight, he became even crazier.
mm,
Hmm.
yeah. So that was my and that remains like my favorite chase
Mm.
scene ever. Everything about
Yeah,
chase,
subway chase.
yeah, it's perfect. It's so perfect. Like the build up and then the execution and the sounds. Oh.
Yeah, really abrasive and like yeah, full of anxiety,
Mm,
driven, and the visuals and the whole black and white contrast. Yeah,
mm,
it made such a big impact on our psyche as a
yeah,
whole.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry. Anyways, that was my introduction to it. I just picked up a
Yeah.
DVD from the
Mm.
store when I was working part time when I was 16.
Hmm.
And I was spent my wages on this DVD. It's like, cool, let me go watch it. I was like, life
Nice.
changed. Yeah. What about yourself?
Yeah. I saw it online, like I downloaded it like
Mm,
about 12 years ago.
mm,
So like I'm just always like constantly looking out for like weird movies when I
mm,
was that age. So
yeah.
like Tetsuo came out and it had a pretty good rating on IMDb. So
Mm,
okay, let's check it out. Like yeah, like what you say, I'm pretty sure I went through all the feelings that you felt through the movie.
mhm.
But I remember very vividly after the end of the movie, I felt sick.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
felt like like my something inside me changed. Like my DNA was kind of like messed
Turned
up or
something
something,
cold.
you know.
Yeah.
So like, what the fuck? What did I just watch? I felt ill, but
Mm,
I was like, wow, this is some really crazy stuff that I've never ever seen before in my life. So
mm,
I put it aside for a while, and I think like through the years, like I've been trying to like digest like
mm,
what's going on in that movie. So
mm,
I revisited again and I watched it again. And after that, I got obsessed. Like on my second watch, I just kept
mm.
going back into it, like repeated watches all these years. And now it's kind of like a religion for me. Like
Sure.
Tetsuo is this like religion that like we can always like watch it again and again and again
Sure.
and you'll find like new details, like really minor details in the movies. Yeah,
Mm,
that's what I love about the movie. Like every time I watch it, I see something new, like really
mm,
subtle that I miss. And there's this
mm.
random cat that was like deforming at the side.
Oh, that's Kei Fujiwara's
Yeah,
cat.
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I've never like noticed that on my first viewing. So like
Mm,
subsequent views that you spot all these little details. And that's what
mm.
made it so awesome for me.
Yeah. 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 The cats. Yeah. So speaking of, yeah, so they filmed that in Kei Fujiwara's apartment, same as
Yep.
what we just talked, Electric Rod Boy.
Yeah, right.
So she's out of the closet now, and she's the love interest.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, they filmed the whole thing in her apartment. All those cats are hers. I mean, I've met both Shinya Tsukamoto and Kei
Oh
Fujiwara.
yeah, I want to talk to you about that. Like you
Uh,
met Shinya Tsukamoto first, right? Was it like at some film festival or something? Like
it was when he was in London
oh,
promoting Fires on a Plane,
right, okay.
and he came in. It was it was just a talk. It was a free talk event,
Hmm. Okay.
and but it was free talk, but it was ticketed. And I just happened
Hmm.
to like be browsing Facebook. Like, I didn't even know he was there. I didn't even know he had a film out. And I think it was Third Windows or
Yeah, it should be third window.
someone,
Yeah. Hmm.
and they just posted on Facebook. Oh, like Shinya Tsukamoto in person, free talk. Reserve your tickets here. I was like, what the fuck? So I obviously jumped on that,
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, and that was it. He came in when he walked in the room. Everyone
Hmm.
was like, yeah, like,
Wow,
which was
nice.
apparently they've done a lot of talks, and the
Hmm.
commentator, the translator, was like, we've done a lot of these talks, and this is the first time anyone has ever clapped when the director has walked in the room.
Wow.
um,
Nice.
and he was just like really sweet guy. He had a translator with him. we talked about a lot of stuff. TETSUO, a lot of movies, but he was basically there to promote Fires on a Plane. So that was the main topic. But I remember the host of the interview was like, well, we're going to have to call it a day here. I mean, it wasn't a long talk. It was maybe 30, 45 minutes.
Okay.
And he was like, there's lots of interviewers like waiting for Mr. Tsukamoto. So unfortunately, he doesn't have much time, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, I would love to have talked to him. And I was just like, okay, and I had brought some stuff with me to get signed. And I was like, maybe if I get a picture with him, that would just make my fucking day.
Also, they don't have like a meet and greet at all.
Well, the host was like, well, he's got interviewers waiting, so he has to kind of hurry on. So I was like, okay, well, can't be helped. I don't want to keep him if he's a busy man, etc., etc. But anyway, so I was like, okay, so I packed up, got my stuff, ready, and walked towards the door. But as I was walking, so he was like, say the door's here, he was sitting in the middle, and I was kind of here. So to get to the door, I had to walk past him anyway. And I was just like, I kind of walked past him. I was like, if I didn't say something, I would regret, right? I can't just walk past him and not be just like, you bastard, you changed my life. So I said like, sorry, do you mind signing something for me? And he was just like, yeah. I was like,
oh my god.
And so I was just
That's
like,
so
and
awesome.
So I had prepared. I mean, I brought my Tetsuo VHS slip with me as well, but I'd also prepared a screenshot of that subway scene of Tomoro and Nobu, what's his name, that chase scene, which was like my massive introduction to that film. And I printed it out and I was like, would you mind signing this? And he looked at it, he was like, whoa. He kind of looked at it as if like it was the first time he had seen it. I was like, it was such a weird reaction. He was like, where did you get this? I was like, I printed it out. And he was like, wow. So I got like that scene, and I've got the Rubbers Lover scene of the elevator going down, like signed by Tozo and Fukui, like together as like
a nice.
But it was funny because I was thinking like, he's got these guys waiting, but if I can sneak in a quick sign before I leave, but then everyone started lining up.
Oh shit. You started the whole thing.
Yeah, I think I caused a chain reaction because everyone just started pulling out all this stuff from their bag, like their
you're not alone then. Everyone is had the same plan as you.
Yeah, and he was like happily signing. He was answering questions. He was taking pictures with people. And I was the first ones, and I was like, I don't want to keep him, so I just got my stuff signed, and I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then I look around, and he's posing for pictures. He's talking to people. I was like, I'm getting back in line.
Also, you had to like line up again.
Yeah, and I was like, it's me again. And so I got a picture.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram. Like, wow, that's so awesome.
Yeah, and I did ask. I was like, has Phantom or Electric Rock Boy ever been released, like as a VHS or something? Because if that would be like a holy grail kind of thing for the collection. And he was like, no, never been released.
But that was like pretty long ago. Like, was it like almost 10 years ago?
But when I met him?
Yeah, when you met him.
It was when I was living in London, so it was probably about 7 or 8.
Okay.
I'd imagine, yeah. Because I've been here for about 5 years, maybe 7. About 7 years, I'd reckon.
Okay, cool. They had like was it like a 30th anniversary for Tetsuo in 2019? So it was in Tokyo. So they had all the main cast, like the main guy from Bullet Man, and they have Tomoro Taguchi, and of course Shinya. They were there like doing. I think they were screening all these 3 films for in like the entire month of April or something.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at like his Twitter and seeing like all those pictures and kind of like, I wish I was there. Sure. Man, that would have been really nice.
Definitely. I remember they did that, and I was thinking that I really, really should go to this. But I think the cast were only gathered on like 1 or 2 of the days.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
and I think I had already missed that day by the time I knew it was happening, so I didn't go down. But otherwise, yeah, it looked like a fantastic event.
Yeah, it looked like a fun. I just live it through the pictures that he retweeted, he reposted. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great experience meeting him. And but yeah, sorry. So going back to the actual film. Okay, so I got this film.
Yeah.
So whilst so the actual runtime for this is 67 minutes, right? And when I came to Japan first time 10 years ago, I believe that was it was when they released Bullet Man. Honestly, I might be getting my timelines mixed up, but they had.
Okay.
I bought it was the first cut of Tetsuo.
Okay.
And it was housed in a DVD. It's like a massive book kind of thing. It's in England at the moment, so I don't have it here. It's like in this big cardboard like sleeve with the book inside that has all the history and everything and behind the scenes, and like it's like an encyclopedia of Tetsuo with a DVD of the first cut.
Okay.
And I think it's like 7 or 9 minutes longer than the other than the main cut.
I I saw the extended one. Yeah.
It's
I think
awesome.
that's the one with the dance that Nobu Kanoka was doing. I believe that was like an extended version, right?
The dance?
Yeah, like she pulled up in the garage and she started dancing. I don't know if you remember that scene. I believe that's on the extended cut.
Oh, I'll need to go back and watch it when I'm back home. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
but I remember it seems like everything was a lot more logical. Like with the car crash and the drill scene and everything. Like, you know how like in the main cut, Kei Fujiwara just like she kind of just starts like vibrating and the blood's kind of.
Oh yes,
like,
yes.
I think in the extended cut, you actually see her kind of like get on top and kind of like ride him, you know?
Yeah.
So she can see like the actual part where she kind of, wakes him up, so to speak. And I was like, oh, so that's what, obviously we know what happened, but it just seemed like there was a lot more kind of footage that explained some of the things which wasn't visually clear in the normal cut. But
true.
I realized there's actually alternative cuts, extended cuts, and different cuts for all of the films in the series.
Oh.
Yeah.
You mean even for Body Hammer and Bullet Man? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So we'll get to those as we progress. But yeah, it just seems interesting that he finished editing it, released it, and then has gone back and added more, changed things. He's like George Lucas. He just keeps changing things.
You mean are you referring to like the remix versions that you had on the Body Hammer?
So yeah, I got the super remix version here, which we'll get to. And then I was just walking around the other day, and there was a DVD shop with a Shinya Tsukamoto section, and so I pulled out Bullet Man, and I forgot the term they used, but there's I think it's called the multi-material cut or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have no idea what they changed on it, but it's an alternative cut. Like, I don't know what a multi-material cut means, if that's but it's something like that. Let's see if I can get it up here. But yeah, it just seems a little bit strange that to just keep going back and changing, extending, and with these strange names which don't really make any sense.
Right. It seems like these cuts were only available in the Japanese market. Do you think so?
Maybe. Honestly, I'm not sure because I don't have any other cuts, any other editions besides like the English one. But yeah, I said in my Instagram post about comparing the two Body Hammer edits, and someone said that the super remix version is also available on the Japanese DVD.
Oh, okay.
But again, yeah, that's just limited to Japan, so it might be available around somewhere else. But
okay.
Yeah, it's a strange one. But anyway, yeah. Do you have anything anything you want to add on to the Iron Man
The
before
first,
we continue?
yeah, I think the main difference, like from higher production values aside, I think the one thing that really made a huge impact on the movie was definitely Chu Ishikawa, his soundtrack.
I
Like,
mean, yeah,
bam, like because the entire movie, like, there's not much dialogues going on. So
no,
it's being like dominated by all that industrial metal clanking and boom, bang, boom, all that stuff. So yeah, have you listened to like any of his bands before, like Dear
no,
Eisen Ross and all that?
I've not.
Pretty awesome, yeah. Like in early industrial noise rock
Mm,
stuff.
I think that's a fairly common theme around these cyberpunk films. Everyone seems to have been in a band at some point,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
all the members were
Right,
doing a
right.
remote. Like tomorrow, the salaryman, he's in a punk band as well. That's how
Right.
Moto found him. And the end theme of going back to Electric Rod Boy, that's his band as well.
Oh yeah, that's his band. Yeah, yeah.
Only you,ただ一人、君だけを愛してる。
So there's always like some sort of musical influence in these films. But in terms of Chu Ishikawa, yeah, his soundtrack, I mean, that's as much a part of TETSUO. That's just as important as
and that was his very first film work was like
serious?
soundtrack. Yeah.
Wow.
So like what I read was he didn't even see the film, or the film wasn't even done yet when he made the sound. So I think Shinya Tsukamoto just said, do something, like make some music. So he just took that music and kind of fit into that movie. And it fits so well. So I was like really surprised that he haven't even like got to see the film before he made the music.
That's
so
pretty
like,
impressive.
wow, but in the end it worked so well. Like it was so vital to the movie. Yeah.
But you can kind of tell by watching it, like it's not scored to the film, it's just like supply pieces, because they do kind of like come in as songs, really.
Yeah, yes.
Quite sudden starts and stops and then fades, and something else suddenly kind of fades in. It's not like scored per se, but there's a lot of awesome sound effects in there, like industrial clanging and bangs on this. And that always just fucking gets me is when they're eating, well, like he's feeding Kei Fujiwara, and she's like this, she's like eating a sausage, and it's like pew pew. It's dumb, but yeah, Chu Ishikawa's like contribution to the TETSUO, like, I mean, if it wasn't him, it would have been so vastly different. I think he's just as important to the series as anyone else. And that score is instantly recognizable.
I think this one,
oh fuck.
So like I want to comment about the soundtrack, because like there is a vinyl version as well. But if you want the soundtrack that you hear from the movie, you should get this one. There's a difference between the sound. Like it felt like this version, it felt like a different studio take. It doesn't sound as abrasive as what you heard in the movie.
Sure.
So if you want to listen to the actual soundtrack, you should get this one.
That's like the perfect box, isn't it? I think that's what they build it as.
Yeah, so it has all the three the films from all three movies. Yeah,
brilliant.
Highly recommended. It's so good.
That's a difficult box set to find, man.
I got it from Discogs, so I think it's a seller from Japan, and it should still be available.
My friend has it, and she lent it to me just to like rip the tracks off of it. But I would love an actual copy for myself. It's a really nice piece. I was looking through the booklets.
Yeah, all the pictures that I have not really seen before, like the pictures of Shinya and Chu Ishikawa. Yeah, really cool.
But that that vinyl you have as well, so that's that's a well-made bootleg, and I think
Oh, really?
they've spoken out about it, and Discogs has actually put a ban on it now. You can't list it on Discogs anymore.
I see.
I heard that they are working on an official vinyl release.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, well, that was something that I heard maybe 2 years ago. Shouldn't take too long. Shouldn't take that long to put some songs on a vinyl and release it. But
Yeah.
maybe because of Chewy Shikawa, he passed as well, didn't he? Not too long ago.
Yeah,
So that might
man.
have
Like
something to do with it.
maybe. Yeah. Oh, if they put it on vinyl, I hope they use the songs that were on the actual soundtrack CD, because that's the accurate version. Like the vinyl one, it's a different take. It sounds like a light version of the songs. Yeah.
I know what you mean. I've heard those tracks. It doesn't
Right.
sound as beefy, does it?
Right. It sounds like a demo version of the soundtrack. Like for Megatron, it sounds very light instead of the harsh vibe going on. So
Sure.
I mean, I'm just happy to get like even if it's a bootleg, it's nice to have it.
Definitely,
on vinyl.
I would still definitely buy it if I could find it. But,
yeah, for collector's sake.
yeah, but yeah, that Megatron, that is a heavy song.
Yeah, man, that's like a perfect ending when they get out from the street as they combine, and like our love will take over the world.
Yeah,
and all that.
But there's that scene. It's like after the drill cock incident, there's a little bit of like a cool down. But when he like stands back up, and he's like scraping across the wall like Freddy Krueger or something with his like 9 fingers, and it's got Megatron playing it, and it's just so impactful. He just looks like, dirty bastard. Yeah.
Amazing.
But I mean, TETSUO, it is a perfect film. It's just fucking incredible. I feel like we could just talk and fanboy about this for fucking hours.
Yeah,
but,
forever.
But rightly so. I feel like one thing I will say, I mean, it is obviously the poster boy of the Japanese cyberpunk genre. And it kind of brings a curse along with it, because every single film that has some sort of influence or was included in the genre or was made by people who took part in making this, everyone will automatically compare it to TETSUO because it is just the supreme film.
Right. Hey, have you spoken to Shozen Fukui about his time assisting on the film? Like, do you have anything to add about that?
Yeah, but I mean, he was essentially assistant director or something. Like, sometimes gets billed as things differently, but essentially he was just he was there. He was helping out, lending hands to people. And he's billed on the back as just essentially like help supporter. But he has like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 5+ people like listed as supporters here, and he's the first one here.
Nice.
But he honestly he didn't have too much to say to me about his experiences on it. I was there, but I didn't really do much. It's not really worth talking about.
I think like when you make something, right, you probably didn't think that how big of an impact this would have after like 20 years. Like two random foreigners like us like geeking out about it over the internet, right? So that's really an interesting perspective that we can put ourselves like in their shoes. Like probably like this is just another day in my life. I wouldn't like think that it's gonna be something impactful like in the years to come. So I guess that's the case for Shozen Fukui.
Maybe. But saying that, one thing I will say, slightly off topic, but all the people like in Shozen Fukui's case and also Kei Fujiwara, all their names are spelled differently on this.
Oh, like you mean the Romaji is different? Like
no, their kanji is different. So I feel like after they made this, they adopted stage names or just something else. So not real names, but stylized names, kind of thing.
Okay.
So I was looking at this, I was like, oh, so that's his real name kind of thing. And that's all right.
Okay,
But, yeah.
okay.
Which was something I
Interesting.
noticed recently. But yeah, no, I've met him a dozen times, and he doesn't have too much to say. And again, when I met Kei Fujiwara as well, honestly, I didn't really ask her about it because I was
Right.
talking about organ and stuff.
Oh yeah, organ, yes.
But I absolutely adore her. I think she is just the most incredible creative person.
Nice.
And I think without her, it would not be the film that it became to be.
Right. I think Shinya also like said something like this in that book, by Tom Mess.
I haven't read that
Shinya's. Yes. It's a really great book. Like it's a must to read for like Shinya fans. So they were like talking about if they even have Kei Fujiwara's interviews like in the book. So it's really well documented. So they were like saying like Kei Fujiwara and Shinya Tsukamoto, they're really close. Like they respect each other, and like they were very like the most like artistically creative inputs in this whole thing. So both of them were like the forces of this whole like kaiju theater thing. So they worked like really well. Like even all the crew had to like stay in her house for months just to like finish the movie with her husband there, which is very supportive. I think her husband even played as one of the vampires in the Electric Rod Boy movie.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I wonder if that was the guy I met in Tokyo with her.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that there was an organ guy that was in.
Yeah. He was saying he was part of Organ.
Possibly.
I didn't clock if it was the same guy or not, but
yeah. But anyway, I think like you said, she's a very vital part of the film. Like in terms of like even camera work, props, costumes, makeup, and everything.
Just essential, absolutely essential.
Very, But unfortunately, they had a fallout like during like the crazy production. So when the film was done, I think it was just probably left with Tomoro and Shinya to kind of finish everything else and wrap up.
Right.
So they had a fallout during like towards the end. It was such
Do you know
a
what that
difficult
was
film.
in regards to? Was it just because it was a very difficult production?
I think it was a difficult production, and also like both Kei Fujiwara and Shinya Tsukamoto, they are very, what should I say? They're very strong personalities. So like even though both are really vital to the movie, they probably had some clashes like throughout the whole production. It's more accurate in the book, so would highly recommend for you to check it out.
Interesting. Yeah, well, yeah, obviously she wasn't present in Tetsuo 2 or any subsequent films from his.
Right.
She was a big part. So they did the previous three, so Phantom, Electric Rod, and Tetsuo together.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure she had a huge part in all areas. Obviously, it was his brainchild, but she did. I think she brought so much to the table, and I think the fact that she's not there in subsequent movies, Bullet Man and Body Hammer, it definitely shows. Definitely, yeah.
Right.
You could argue that she was the magic that to these productions, because they only got worse from here.
Yeah, so I guess it's time to move on.
Body Hammer, sorry.
Body Hammer.
All right, after you. How did you get on with this one?
Body Hammer. I mean, like, oh, sweet. So after watching the first movie, like, it's only natural for me, like, check out the sequels and see what they have to offer, right? Yeah, so they changed the color, and overall the production kind of beefed up. Like, it's like more polished, crazier costumes and effects, and with the same guy, Tomoro Taguchi, as the salaryman character again. And how did the movie started?
It's like there's the car crash. There's the metal fetishist guy trying to run over the kid, or they try to take the kid, right?
Right. Yeah.
And there's that just relentless scene of them running around, and
I think they were trying to kidnap the kid or
They
something.
take him to the
Just
roof,
to
drop him off.
yeah.
It happens again.
I think
Personally,
they were trying to invoke some rage into him because they
Sure.
know that as soon as he becomes like angry, he will start like mutating into that
Sure.
body hammer guy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. So it's definitely done. It's a Tetsuo on a larger scale. Adapted to color. It's bigger sets, like you said, bigger costumes, a lot more money.
More actors, more crew, more character. Yeah.
Everything is bigger and less experimental. So it's not the no dialogue screaming running around like in in the Iron Man it was like non-stop Yamero. Like that was the only thing that was ever said.
Right. This time they have a slightly proper story going on, and even some backstories like how they were able to like was it I think Shinya's character and Tomoro's character, they were like brothers, and then their dad were like experimenting on them, like injecting some substance.
Was that in Bullet
Man?
That
was Body Hammer? That Body Hammer. Yeah, this was explained like in the later part of the film. Like they were brothers. Yeah, they were brothers.
Yeah, in the flashback scenes. Yeah.
The flashback scene. Yeah, so the dad is like this crazy dude, like just injecting stuff into them and to enable them to like change their hands into like weapons. So I think they saw their mom getting raped and killed by the father, and they went nuts, and both of them just shot their dads to death. Yeah. So that was
It's a film that I really don't know where I stand on, because back when I saw the Iron Man, like I said, obviously immediately just like what is this incredible thing? Went back to the shop the next day and then picked up the Bullet Man. Oh my god, I keep saying Bullet Man. Body Hammer. Fuck. Picked up Body Hammer. Watched it, and I just remember being so disappointed.
Oh, really?
Sucks. Like, but going back, giving it a second chance, so I found things which I enjoyed, and things which I just can't get my head around. But I think the thing that really I really feel in this one is that, well, he wanted to have a more story-driven Tetsuo.
Right. Yeah.
So you got the family, you got the characters, lots more dialogue. Everything is a little bit more explained, right? So I think he wanted to be more story-focused, but at the same time, he still wanted to do Tetsuo because it was just this phenomenally famous and successful film. So, and I feel like he just didn't quite get the balance, especially in like the first like 30 minutes. There's like all these there's loads of small dialogues, and then it's like bam, Chuishikawa music, like in heavy industrial, like clanging. And then it's like, and it's stopped because someone has another line they want to say. And then it was suddenly bam, music again. But it just feels so like it doesn't quite stick together. It feels just very jarring, and personally, I just didn't feel like it worked. Like, either have a conversation or play music, but don't play loads of music and then dip down for like a really, really small, meaningless couple of lines and then jump back up to industrial noise again. And then the whole like thing of kidnapping the sons, like that went on. Like, they did that twice, and it was just not interesting to me. And after you get past like the 30-minute mark, then I was like, oh, okay, then it kind of got pretty good, and I enjoy it. But I feel like the first part is like
30 minutes.
Yeah, personally, it felt like he was just trying to do two different things at the same time. And personally, I felt like it didn't work.
Okay.
It gets really cool in the middle, I think, and I feel like this, whereas like the Iron Man was very industrial, metal orientated. This one is a bit more kind of like technology orientated. It's a bit more kind of like action, and you have so much classic like cyberpunk imagery, like the
Oh
goggles and
man,
stuff.
I fucking love those.
Like visually, it's really
Mm.
cool, and there's
Yep.
all the things you want to look at, but it just doesn't pull me in.
Mm.
I look at it like, wow, that looks
Right.
really fucking cool. and that's, and then again, like with the in the Iron Man, things just keep escalating, right? They just keep escalating. They get bigger and bigger and more crazy. And where in Body Hammer, it kind of just slows down and has a really long, drawn out ending with like the flashbacks and really long fades and things like, and it gets boring. And I was like, how can you make a TETSUO film boring? So that was what I kind of took away from it.
I see.
I just couldn't do it. But the imagery is awesome, and the thing which I do love about this film is the subway chase scene lady, Nobu. I can never remember her name.
Yeah.
She plays the love interest in this film.
Oh yeah, she plays the wife of Tomoro Taguchi. Yeah.
So she has like a full-on role, loads of lines, and she has got some fantastic just expressions on her face the whole time.
Yeah. I think she's like one of the better actors like in the series, right?
Definitely. And it's a shame that she never did anything outside the Kaiju Theater productions.
Right. I went to look at her IMDb page, and you're right. That's like the last work that she was done.
Yeah. Yeah. But speaking to people who saw Body Hammer before the Iron Man, I have loads of friends like that, and they're like, I love Body Hammer.
Yeah. I totally understand why. Yeah.
And I think that's it. I think if you were to see this one first, probably if I saw this one first, I think it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, especially when I was a teenager, like all those mad visuals. But after it, again, it's the curse of the Iron Man. It was too good. Everything else just fails in comparison. But that was what I took away from it. How about yourself?
I have a very interesting take on this. Like when I first saw Body Hammer, right, I love it so much. Like because I'm a sucker for these like cyberpunk imagery and all the lab, the equipment, you know, all that stuff. So like for a point of time, I even felt that I like Body Hammer a bit more than the first TETSUO film.
Blasphemy.
Okay, but that's my first view. So like subsequent viewings, I saw some of the flaws that you mentioned as well, like whatever you just mentioned, and I can see why you felt the way that you did, but slowly it became like it's not my favorite anymore. Like the first TETSUO film went back to the first, so yeah. So like the film for the first one as a whole, it works so well. The second one had like super cool elements, super cool imagery. But yeah, you can definitely see a dip in the levels in terms of the pacing and all that. So, but still, I love like every single scene with the cyberpunk imagery and all the equipment and him with the visor and
visually it's
all that
very
stuff.
And I love
it's so good.
The rust thing that they brought to it when people just like they have the God, it's like a faulty injector. So
right. So that thing, it was supposed to like convert a normal human being into like the Iron Man, but they all like were faulty, right? And then they were like infected with rust.
It's a great concept.
A really cool idea.
And the makeup for it is great. There's a scene where Shinya Tsukamoto's character is like going across, and it's like a platform, like because they're essentially in a factory, so it's like one of those roller kind of things, and he's going back and he's like slowly turning to rust.
Have you seen the making of for that movie?
No.
There was a making of video that I saw on YouTube. I believe it's on one of the Body Hammer DVD releases extras. So when I saw that, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Like I've never like got a chance to see a making of for any TETSUO movie for that matter. So like being able to like have a glimpse of the behind the scenes for like the Body Hammer was so cool. So awesome. I'll link that to you. I think you'll be interested to see it.
Please do. But there's something I have seen. So sorry, going on to remix version.
I have not seen that one. You need to tell me about that.
So yeah, again, so with the strange cuts. So they released this super remix version after the original one, and it's not really quite clear to me what they did, what they changed, because I'm not that familiar with Body Hammer itself. I think if it was like if I watched it a million times and I knew all the scenes, I could easily spot the differences.
Right.
But there was a few things, and I was like, I don't quite recall that being in the in the original cut, but there wasn't any massive changes by any means. But according to the blurb on the back, the super remix version is as if, like, it says the music is, if you listening to it as if you are at like watching a concert, like a live show, and the visuals would be like if you're at a movie theater, and it just describes it as it's got an original sound, and it is a more dense Tetsuo world is the way that it's described, which doesn't really explain much. I think it's more really just the sound has changed and maybe picked up some pacing issues. This is actually 1 minute shorter than the other cut. So a whopping 1 minute. Yeah. So I don't think they changed too much. If they did, it wasn't enough for me to pick up on. Even though I was like, well, I don't really remember this one. It could have been there. So I can't say what it is. But one of the cool things on the back of this one, it's got an interview. It says the making of Tetsuo 2, which might be the one you're talking about.
It could be, yeah.
But this is mainly just Tomorrow and Tsukamoto talking together.
Oh, okay. Then no. The one that I have is like really they were on set. You can see like behind the scenes and all that action going on. It's really
There's
cool.
a couple of stuff like sliced in between the questions on this, but it's essentially just the two of them talking together.
Okay.
And sharing like little tidbits about the film and comparing like the first one to the second one. And it's a nice little interview. It's called it's called A Night in Tokyo for some reason. So maybe that was the show they were on. But one of the cool things that I did take away from this interview, which made me appreciate it a little bit more, was the scene where the kid gets kidnapped in the shopping mall.
Yeah.
That was all done like guerrilla, apparently.
Oh, okay.
So they had like rehearsed somewhere with the layout of the shopping mall in mind, and they kind of went in on the day, and Tsukamoto had his camera like in a brown paper bag kind of thing.
Wow, nice.
and it was like all very like covert ops kind of thing.
Nice.
And then it was like, right, action, and then they took the kid and then running around. So
One
that's
take.
all done all take. And they had like people from the shops like thinking someone was getting kidnapped, so people were like jumping out trying to stop them, and they had to like stop, be like, oh no, it's all like it's okay kind of thing. But probably because they couldn't get permission to film. I think as opposed to say like in Shostakovich's Pinocchio, like in that running scene,
I was just gonna mention that.
That was for the reactions of the people around them, right? He needed those genuine reactions. But I think this was more just because they probably couldn't get filming permission.
Right. I believe Pinocchio Shozin was able to like get some permission to film in those locations, like based on some of the interviews that he did. But yeah, I guess the people around didn't know that they were making a movie. But man, that shot of Pinocchio running on the street is pure gold.
Can't beat it.
Yeah.
I want to watch that again now.
Yeah, man.
But again, like, the Tetsuo curse. Everyone just compares his films to Tetsuo. It's just like, as much as I love it, I have a slight grudge against it for that reason.
Yeah, but like you said, like if you watch Body Hammer first, right, you will feel that wow, it's fucking good and all that because it's in color and that. And but then like I said, I liked it. Like I was sucked into all that visual and fancy big budget production, and I even liked it more than the first one at first. But eventually, you went back to the first place.
Yeah.
Repeated viewings will make you feel, make you like notice some of the flaws. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I still really like it, especially for the after the past the first half an hour mark, when all that like technology stuff comes
Yeah,
into play.
it
Yeah, that
definitely.
kind of like overshadows all the flaws that I felt about the film.
Sure.
Mm.
Yeah, it's definitely great. Visually, it's very nice. But
Mm.
pace. I think it's just pacing issues more than anything.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Should we get on to Bullet Man?
Sure. Let's do it.
I feel like this. I mean, it's just universally agreed on that this film is terrible. I feel like everyone hates this film, and I totally understand it why. I think if you if you look at everyone's reviews, everyone who likes a TETSUO film, everyone said, "Oh, it's great," but Bullet Man, that fucking sucks. Like,
that's probably the reason why I watch Bullet Man until much later. Yeah, but yeah.
I think it definitely deserves the hatred it has. Definitely for a multitude of reasons. I mean,
right.
For one, I mean, it didn't need to go to America. Like, it's essentially Shinya Takamoto's like sellout moment, right?
Like
he
wanted to bring Hollywood version, yeah.
We'll take Tetsuo to America. It's his most famous film. He wanted to take it to America to get that international fame.
Right.
Is essentially what happened. And he had been trying to make Tetsuo in America for a long time, apparently.
Okay. Oh yeah.
A long time. And I think even like Quentin Tarantino was on board as a producer at one point.
Oh yes. I remember that.
But just due to disagreements and this and that, it just never came around. But so in the end, he made it in Japan, but with an American. It just the whole thing just didn't work. Like it didn't need to be made in America.
Right.
When you think of it's this cyberpunk, Tokyo is that cyberpunk city. It always has been from like Blade Runner, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to bring it to like Washington DC. Like what the fuck is Tetsuo going to do in Washington? And then you've got the main guy, Eric something.
I think so. Yeah.
Eric Bosick. Like this random white guy in it replacing Tomorrow Taguchi.
Right.
Like, why would you replace Tomorrow Taguchi as the main guy? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And all the acting is just terrible.
Oh yeah, the acting was not
it is
really,
some of the worst acting and stiffest acting that you've ever seen. The lines, God, this is a joke, right? Everything is delivered so hammily. It's terrible. So I feel like it really deserves all the hate that it gets.
Yeah.
But I actually quite like it.
Same. I'm glad we are on the same path on this. Yeah, I like you said, the acting was kind of not the best. But as a movie itself, I try to watch it like a standalone movie to kind of appreciate it more. And I would just pretend that it's a Hollywood remake of TETSUO. And Hollywood remakes usually suck ass. And so I would kind of close one eye on some of the flaws, but I felt that it was a good effort to kind of bring TETSUO into the English speaking crowd and to appeal a bit more to the Hollywood audience. So I can understand.
Was it necessary though? Because TETSUO has always been more famous overseas than it has in Japan.
You're right as well.
Like there was no need to try and Americanize it or try to make it more appealing, because it is already this extremely appealing cult film, which is far more famous and well known outside of Japan. So to take all those key elements which has made it so famous and this cult movie and change them completely into something for the sake of appealing to a foreign audience, such as like an English dialogue, it just didn't make any sense. It's like he just shot himself in the foot.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, I can understand the hate for it, but I
Mm.
didn't like hate it as much as a lot of people do. So
Mm.
like, I appreciate for what it is, and I actually appreciate the little story that they have. Like I think this
Mm.
is the Tetsuo film with the most proper storyline.
Oh yeah,
Like
do you want to go through that?
sure, like so like this main guy, he was born, the mother was like the like an android or something, because
Mm.
she had cancer, right?
Sure.
And then the dad, they were working on like this experiment to build androids and all that shit. And the mom was dying of cancer, and before she died, she wanted the dad to build an android version of her to make love to her to get a kid.
Yeah.
So like it is like maternal thing going on. So
Mm.
eventually they conceive the boy who's the main character, and he has this Tetsuo blood in his
Mm.
DNA.
Mm.
And so like the same concept. When a guy gets angry, he would starts mutating.
Mm.
Yeah. So and this Shinya Tsukamoto character like kind of knew about all his backstory and history, and he wants to like fuck with him, right?
Mm. Yeah,
He felt like he had like a death wish to be killed
sure.
by that monster version of him. So
Yeah.
that's why he's always like following him and
Mm.
trying to
Like kind of
trigger
egging him
him.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was the backstory would kind of work for this
I think
movie.
it worked to an extent. It was one of those things. It's like, firstly, was it necessary? Did you need to explain
Yeah.
Tetsuo? Do we need to know why people are
Yeah.
mutating? No, we don't need to. It's just
Right.
we don't. But
Yeah.
as far as unnecessary backstories go,
Hmm.
it's all right.
Yeah.
I enjoy some of like the old um, like case files that were shown,
Yeah.
and it's so that's why all this is happening. But I think that one of the things, especially with this series, and like I said at the very beginning, it's been analyzed, and so much. This is a metaphor for this, and this means that, and da, 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 da. I try just not to read or hear any of that stuff, because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to understand everything,
Right.
because that takes away the fantasy and the mystery,
Yeah.
And I think with Tetsuo 3, the Bullet Man, it reveals all of that, and obviously
Takes away the magic of the
it does. It
first
takes
movie,
away the
yeah?
magic, and it stinks of America. Those American Hollywood movies, like you have to explain everything, and that's apparently what he was dealing with whilst in talks with an American production. Is
Right.
they were saying, we need a reason. This has to be explained. Like, it doesn't make sense, and we need a reason why he's turning to metal. And this is what we got, the android sex thing. Yeah. So yeah, it's a fine storyline. Was it necessary? No.
Yeah, not necessary. Yep.
Yeah, but the thing which it really suffers from is the acting. And I remember I saw this a long time ago. Maybe not as soon as it came out, but fairly soon after. And just it's so hammy. You know what I mean? Like, all the lines are just delivered terribly, and it doesn't help, and it's a challenge they were facing. They were non-native English speakers trying to speak English, right? So you had Tsukamoto and the main actress who were trying to deliver their lines in English, so it's a challenge.
Yeah.
But then also you had a bunch of Americans in there who also couldn't deliver their lines.
Yeah.
Everything just came across really just like, oh, this is terrible. You can't believe it. It's horrible. And I remember watching it and just thinking, this is just very embarrassing to watch and very upsetting.
I actually felt that the lines that Tsukamoto delivered was kind of cute. There was a scene where he goes like, "Let's party," or like that was funny. It was kind of like endearing in a way.
Let's party.
Was it, you don't want me inside of you. You don't know what I But and I watched it, and I remember watching it, and I thought, well, I probably will never watch that again. It's probably 10 years ago. I don't know. And then I tried to watch it again somewhere along the line, and I stopped when the wife was acting, and it was just too uncomfortable and too bad. And then I watched it again for the third time very recently, and I was like, this is great. I love it. And I think the reason I came to enjoy it is now that, I mean, I've been living here in Japan for about 5 years now, and I've to some degree learned the language. And all the lines in that film, if you were to say them in Japan as a Japanese line,
right,
it would not feel so strange. It would not feel weird or unnatural.
Right.
So just from my guess, you've had Tsukamoto write the script. This is what they say, da 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 da, and it was probably absolutely fine. And then it got translated to English, and they had to read it as it was word for word in English.
Right.
But it's, even though maybe he obviously got it checked and translated, and grammatically it's fine, but it's just not natural. And I think that really plays into how hammy it feels.
Yeah.
You know, like when the soldiers, like, you know, you're what does he say? Your dad, you know, fucked a robot. Is he some kind of pervert or something?
What am I? Isn't my dad some kind of perverted freak? He had sex with an android?
Oh yeah.
Terrible
Because like
line.
in the Japanese dialogue, it's like hentai, or something along those lines, right? Yeah.
Right. So I think, like, if we looked at the original script in Japanese, it would have been written first in Japanese.
Right.
I don't think it would be as weird as it came across on screen. And now that I kind of have seen it and I understand the language, and think with that kind of mental approach, I kind of didn't find it so unbearable as I did before.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And reading an interview that he did, I think it was a Tom Mez interview actually with Midnight Eye, he did mention the struggles that he faced and all the things he realized after filming, with like the challenges that he himself faced and the wife, and how difficult it was to create the natural nuances. You know, not just reading it word for word, like it's just unnatural. And he said that he realized that after he filmed everything. So I feel like he knows.
I guess he realizes it didn't work as well as he hoped for, maybe. But do you feel that he should make another Tetsuo film?
Yes.
Can never get enough.
I can
even though like the Bullet Man is not the best, I still enjoy it for what it is. Yeah, I mean the only like thing that I had a kind of like, I don't know if it's a quiet taste or what, like some of the scenes that the cameras were way too shaky for their own good. You get what I mean?
A lot of people said that. A lot of people had that complaint. Yeah.
Right. But it kind of worked for that thing, like, because when it's shaky, it creates this sort of like crazy anxiety atmosphere, and with that loud industrial music, it kind of worked for me in a way. I could look past that.
A lot of people mentioned that the shaky camera's just too. I mean, all his camera work is very shaky across all his films, but it was like,
but it's almost kind of like a bit overdone in some parts.
So yeah, I know what you mean. A lot of people said like the saving grace to this film was the fact that there was like a 9-inch nails as the closing.
Oh yeah.
Who gives a fuck? Why? It doesn't matter. You got Chuishikawa. You don't need 9-inch nails. Like,
yeah. It was just like a nice American thing to put on top, I guess.
Yeah. It's like, what? You got Chuishikawa. You don't need 9-inch nails.
But have you seen this? Have you seen this advertisement that Shinya did with 9-inch nails? It was like a short 50 seconds advertisement for MTV Japan. Oh, you
I didn't see that.
It was pretty fucking cool. That's the essence of the first film. So I
Oh,
think you'll
okay.
like that.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, send it
Yeah.
over. But yeah, I think Bullet Man. Oh, and sorry, speaking of which, the Eric Bossman guy, like terrible actor.
I haven't seen
Right.
any of his other stuff yet.
Oh, he hasn't done anything else.
Oh, okay.
So I thought actually he's done one other film, but I think
Okay.
Tetsuo was his first film, which really makes me want to know, like, where the fuck did he come from? Like, I mean, I heard that he did auditions, so he probably just like turned up for a casting, and Komoto liked him, probably liked the image because he seemed like a very, he's a smart, slick looking guy.
Yeah.
But he can't act for shit. And he's had like no roles since then, bar one.
Oh man.
So I don't think Tetsuo was his lucky break, which he was expecting.
Yeah. But I kind of like that that design though. Like he keeps mutating and like more stuff keeps falling out from his body. That was quite funny. Like those like molten metal, coming up from his body, and the wife has to like remove the pieces
sure.
him.
Yeah, that's
that
nice.
was something different compared to the other early Tetsuo films.
It's definitely got some nice points, but I feel like it's just so weird. It's so bizarre with I can't get over the dialogue. It's just so bizarre that you never quite feel invested, and because it feels so unnatural. I feel like you can. When I was watching, I feel like I elevate into this like alternative reality where everyone was just talking like weird people. It's like like Possession by Jalowski.
Yeah.
All the acting is really hammy in there. Everything's really over the top, and I kind of feel like they elevated into that universe where everyone says these stupid things which doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah, it's a weird one. But so I got so before we finish, we're reading this book called Movie Punks. It is a fantastic book.
Video punks, yeah.
And it's interviews with various directors. So you got Shogo Ishii, Shoto Fukui, Keiji Fujiwara. You got all the guys, and of course we got Tsukamoto in there as well.
Yeah.
And I was reading it not too long ago. There you go. How young he was.
Oh, nice.
So this interview was done in '95 when Tokyo Fist got released, and so
nice.
it covers like Tetsuo and Tetsuo 2 and other things. It's classic. But anyway, the thing that I wanted to mention was he talks about future Tetsuo, and he said he always wanted to, or he envisioned Tetsuo being able to fly through the sky at some point. And he said, if he were ever able to do that, it would have to be like an American production, like a big Hollywood kind of thing with Tetsuo soaring through the sky. So he had like his heart set on America, at least from '95, as far as we know. And the last question he gets asked is like future plans. And he says, like, regarding Tetsuo, he says, not in Tokyo, but like Tetsuo goes to New York or something, that kind of like, he said that kind of stuff, like that titling he doesn't like, but something. He was always thinking about America. And someone suggested like a versus film, like Tetsuo versus something.
Oh, yes.
And he said, it's a cool idea, but someone will have to lose. And he doesn't know who would want it. I don't think he'd want his creation to lose, but that kind of thing, like King Kong versus Godzilla, Tetsuo versus Zeilan. I don't know what that is. It's another Japanese film, but that was the comparison they made. But at least just like from reading this interview, he said his heart's set on America for a long time. And it sounds like he has, I don't know, more ideas left in him, which didn't make it into any of the films that we read that we saw so far. So I tell you what, I would love to see a new Tetsuo.
Like
whilst he's still making movies.
Versus. I don't know what is his like mind like with regards to movies nowadays. Like because he's been making more of period films recently,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
Samurai, and also like the Fires on the Plane, the
Yeah,
war movies.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if he still has that cyberpunk spirit in him,
Sure.
like in this day and age. So
Yeah,
if he
yeah.
does, that would be nice to see like what has he been toying with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
Mm.
at least, yeah, he should stay in Tokyo. He shouldn't go to America. No Tetsuo goes to New
Yeah.
York. It's not like
Yeah,
Jason takes
yeah.
Manhattan. That terrible.
Oh yeah.
Right. Can you imagine
Yeah,
Tetsuo just
yeah.
walking? It just wouldn't make sense. Yeah. But
Yeah.
saying that, with Chu Ishikawa passed, I mean,
Mm.
there's that vital part which would not be present anymore. So
Yeah.
whether he could make a Tetsuo film without, maybe he wouldn't want to make a Tetsuo film without Chu
Maybe.
Ishikawa.
Yeah.
And if he did, you know, who would replace him? You know,
Mm.
it's such an
Hard
original
thing.
sound that
Yeah,
it
man.
might just not even be on the table.
Yeah, like wow, when he passed away, I was quite sad. Like, you know, one of my plans for like my music, I wanted to cover Megatron and send it to him and, you know, like be a fanboy. But
yeah,
the
yeah.
next thing I know, he passed away. So yeah,
Very
it's sad that I
sad,
couldn't
yeah.
send him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge shame. But yeah, no, I feel like that's all I've got for Tetsuo. Yeah, is there anything you want to add before we finish? Bullet Man, future plans, anything?
Wow. What can I say? This is definitely Shinya Tsukamoto's baby. Like without Tetsuo, he wouldn't be where he is right now. Like, he wouldn't be known overseas and all that. So yeah, and we wouldn't be talking and we wouldn't know each other if not for his films.
Sure.
So
sure.
definitely, thank you, Shinya Tsukamoto.
A lot to be thankful for. Changed my life. Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
It would be a shame to finish the Tetsuo series on Bullet Man. I think if he has one more left in him, you can learn from the mistakes that he realized after making, and maybe do that one last.
Yeah.
But he did say, sorry, in the Midnight Eye interview with Tom Mess, he said if he were to do something, he would do something a lot more simpler.
Back to basics, maybe. Like
back to basics, yeah.
Without much story or explaining, just pure.
Yeah. He said he already covered the origins, why it's happening. So he doesn't need to do that anymore. He just do something a lot more simple, which sounded great. Like because you don't need a backstory. You don't need anything. You just need like metal dicks flying around and people being animated. That's all you need.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it will be interesting. Yeah. Let's see how it goes.
Fingers crossed for the future, eh?
Right.
All right. Good talking to you, man. Thanks again for the chat.
Man.